Virgil Ortiz improves his record to 17 wins, 17 knockouts, and no losses after stopping Maurice Hooker in the 7th round of their fight in Dallas, Texas. It was a very good fight. There was an ebb and flow, back and forth. Virgil Ortiz obviously gave a good account for himself and showed a lot of grit. He did get touched up by a very good fighter in Maurice Hooker. This was Maurice Hooker's first step up to 147. So although I wish it wouldn't have been after such a long layoff and it wouldn't have been his first step up to the division, I wish he would have, accommodated himself before this fight. Nevertheless, he looked very good. He was able to do what he does best, which is box and fight on the inside when he needed to. He has long, lanky arms that he could utilize and shoot a straight right hand from afar. But whenever the fight gets dragged into the trenches, well, he's never out of his element in there neither. And that's where Virgil Ortiz was trying to push the fight towards. Ultimately, they were both working and digging to the body, which was really good to see. And it was pretty refreshing to see both boxers respect the inside game. Virgil Ortiz obviously eventually came out on top and was able to stop Maurice Hooker with an over right hand and a flurry of punches. But it also seemed like Maurice Hooker had hurt his hand for whatever reason, and nevertheless the fight was stopped in the 7th round. Virgil Ortiz after the fight also called out Terence Crawford. He says he wants the top dogs, and he feels like he wants those fights most, whether he's ready for them or not. He wants the top guys, period. He wants to challenge himself, he wants to test himself, and I really believe this kid. I really think, and I've said it before, and no hate to anybody else under the Golden Boy Promotions banner, but I think Virgil Ortiz is legitimately the best talent they possess right now. He's the most tested, he's a young kid, he's on a come up, and he'll definitely reach the top echelon if he continues down this path. I think Ryan Garcia is another good name, and I think that he may be second under that promotional banner, but I think Virgil Ortiz is the all-around package, and he's proven that. He's stepped up, he's been stepping up, and gradually every fight. And now that he has a former world champion in Maurice Hooker in his resume, well, I think that solidifies who's slightly ahead right now. Nevertheless, I think that Virgil Ortiz, although he wants Terence Crawford, Errol Spence and whatnot, I think it's unfortunate that he won't be able to really land those fights because of the whole business side of the sport. One of them is with the PBC and the other one is with Top Rank. Although those fights could happen, potentially, I'm not too certain. There's also Ugas, but Ugas is gonna most likely land the unification fight with Errol Spence Jr. since they're both PBC fighters. And this really gets old. This whole, this side of the street, that side of the street, it really gets annoying and boring for us fans because we're always and constantly missing out of the best fights just because this guy is fighting for Al Heyman or this guy is fighting for Oscar de la Hoya, and for whatever reason they don't want to work together and those fights never happen, they fall through. But either way, I think Virgil Ortiz should continue fighting, should continue developing. There is other up and coming names. There's always and constantly developing new talent. So if anything, patience is key. He just needs to continue honing his skills. I know moving up to the 154 might be a potential option later on down the road, but even that division is completely controlled by the PBC. So if Oscar de la Hoya wants to legitimately make this kid a star, I think there needs to be work relationship with other networks, other promotional banners, and I hope it does happen. I mean, it's not impossible. They've co-promoted fights before. If the fights are big enough, if the attention is there, if the fans and the paying customer is there, they will make those fights, but we just need to also generate interest. Nevertheless, Virgil Ortiz, again, looked fantastic. Knockout win in the 7th round against a game Maurice Hooker. I can't wait to see both of them back in the ring, and I can't wait to see what's next for a young Virgil Ortiz. Either way, guys, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts on how he looked. What do you want to see him do next? And do you think he even has a shot against Errol Spence Jr. or Terence Crawford right now? Thanks a lot for tuning in and checking the video out. Like always, this is Shay at King Me Boxing, signing out.